Marnin!
Madnin!
Welcome to the India Explained podcast, recorded in London and San Francisco. One take, unscripted, no rehearsal.
Hey Bunty, good morning. I thought for today's today's first episode, we did this special on our 50 episode journey. But I thought, we'll do a mix of serious and lighter episodes. And for the serious story, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted us to talk about this controversy over Rahul Gandhi's religion.
Right.
So the backstory in a nutshell is that Rahul Gandhi has been campaigning pretty fervently in Gujarat. I don't know
Right.
what's going to happen. The BJP is very confident, and it may well win. And my guess is I'm not an expert. I think it still will probably figure out some way with its immense political sort of capital and strategy and organization to form the government. But they are worried. It's not a slam dunk. And Gandhi has had a kind of reinvention on social media, even with public engagement.
Right.
He's been, talking to different populations, including the Patidars, the Patels, who Hardik Patel
Right.
is their young leader. We did a story about him in part when we did the Gujarat election special.
Correct.
So that's the kind of background. Now, what's also happened is that Rahul Gandhi has also visited some temples, and one of the temples he's visited is the Somnath temple.
Right.
Somnath has a very important place in the Indian and Hindu political imagination, both because it's the temple that was raided. It was legendary for its wealth. It was raided, I think, 8 times by Mahmud of Ghazni. And,
Right.
that it's become a symbol of Muslim violence and depredation. And it's been sort of central to the Hindutva imaginary. Now,
Right.
is it a big deal that Rahul went there? I don't know. We can talk about that. Uh, what happened is that the BJP's officials, including the IT cell head, who's a person I just want to be very candid, like I just think he's just an odious person. He said that Rahul Gandhi signed the register for non-Hindus. And,
Right.
this was then again raising this whole question of is he Hindu, is he atheist? And our media, I think in very poor light, kind of, demanded that Rahul Gandhi clarify this. For a while, Rahul Gandhi and his office, as well as the Congress, kind of kept their peace and maintained what I thought was a relatively dignified silence. But then they took the BJP's bait, came out saying that Rahul Gandhi and his family are Shiv Bhakts, that's devotees of Lord Shiv. And
Right.
that's where it stands. To me, this is the whole thing is in some ways a victory for the BJP because they got Rahul Gandhi to talk about his religion. But the larger question is that, and I shared a thought about this on Twitter, that when I was growing up in India, yes, there was communalism, but at least in public, people felt that it was in bad taste to demand that someone explain their religion and therefore their loyalty to the country. So I'll leave it there and just would be keen to see what you have to think about this.
Well, look, I will take a common sense view to this thing. We have to start where things stand. And unless things have changed, constitutionally, we are a secular country, which means that the state and business of the state should be carried on indifferent of the faith you practice. Now, by extension, my definition and my understanding of that, not my definition, my understanding of that would be that if you are in public office or aiming for public office, at every periodic interval, you are not expected to clarify or take positions based on your religion, right? Now, that said, that's a very innocent explanation of how things are understood. Now, clearly, we've got a political party who feel that the only way they can move forward is by leveraging differences, or what's called benign majoritarianism, if I can pronounce it correctly, by amplifying that this is a majority Hindu country, and therefore the Hindu voice is the only voice that not the only voice, the first voice that needs to be heard, right? Which it jars to my understanding of what we are as a nation. So I think periodically asking people about their religion in public office is incorrect. It's not done. I think the Congress made a fool of themselves by responding to it, right? That they are Shiv Bhakts. Because next things, given the way these type of things move in public life, first they will ask you whether you wear brown shirts. Then they'll ask you whether you're wearing the swastika on your hand. Then they'll ask you whether you hate Jews. Then they'll ask you where the trains are being organized. then they'll ask you, so there is no end. So the next thing he'll be asked is whether he drinks Gaumutra in the beginning of the day and the end
Or
of the
what
day.
kind of Shiv Bhakti you prove that this is Shiv Bhakti, and
Yes,
that's
yes, yes.
I would,
So
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
it opens a door into a mindset, which is something that this country doesn't need to get dragged down. Right? Is our view, is my view, right? Is my view, and I'm hoping is your view too. That we do not believe in India where a person who's aspiring for political office needs to clarify that he performs rituals in the morning and in the afternoon and in the day, the sign of his Hindu faith, his caste position. All of these are, it's not that that doesn't matter, but it matters in a private sphere. Expressing their religious conviction for political gain and political office is something that should be kept aside, and it had been till such time these guys came in, the BJP came in, with a view of kind of centralizing the faith argument.
Right.
So that's my view on it.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'll share a couple of other arguments, which is that it's not that the Congress has been above communalism. Far from it. There are many congressmen who are either who have been who've toyed with soft Hindutva. Even Narasimha Rao, it was really on his watch that the Babri was demolished, right? So
yeah.
Rajiv Gandhi, I think, was the one who allowed, and was it B.K. Nehru, and under their gaze, I think Shilanas or temple puja was allowed again, and that was a concession that was made to the hardcore Hindu population to compensate for the concession that was made to the Muslim population on the Shah Bano case. So all of this is known, it's accepted. But the point is that there was a kind of if I have to use a Hindu metaphor, Lakshman Rekha, where you didn't say that to make a statement about India at large, you have to necessarily be a Hindu. That the only people who can really serve the country well are Hindu. That a Muslim is always going to, this idea that a Muslim or Christian is only going to, represent their own community's interests first. Now, there's something that I found particularly ominous about one of the headlines at Republic, that new television channel was running, when this, just assuming that this absolute and utter lie about Rahul Gandhi signing the non-Hindu register was true. So I should just digress here very briefly and say that I didn't know, and I don't know if there's a non-Hindu register. What he signed was the guest register. He simply signed a visitor's handbook. Now, maybe there is a Hindu/non-Hindu distinction there. I don't know about that, but he didn't sign that. So the media completely failed in actually questioning that story. But then Republic is very well known for being a BJP mouthpiece. And if people had worries or concerns about something like Times Now, where Arnab worked earlier, Arnab Goswami, Republic has turned out to be 10 times more horrific. So, in these 5 questions for Rahul Gandhi or something, I think they also raised this whole question of, is he an atheist? Is he a Hindu? Is he a Parsi or whatever? I think it was a Republic. I wonder if it was another channel, but I'm pretty sure it was a Republic. Just want to mention that as a caveat. Whoever it was, what's happening now is exactly as you said, that the scope of who could be potentially disloyal is increasing. It's bad enough. It's bad enough that it was, targeted at Muslims and Christians. But, what used to happen earlier was that the Parsis were considered a well-behaved minority. The Jains and Sikhs, when Indira Gandhi's assassination came under that cloud similarly, but they were considered sort of relatively, not outsiders in the way that Muslims and Christians were. But now that's extended to, every minority. It's being extended to atheists. And it's just a matter of time before you could have, complete, legit Hindu cred in the ideas by the definition of the RSS. But if you don't agree with them, they'll turn up with some other excuse that you're the wrong kind of Hindu, or you're not wearing a sacred thread, or you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Exactly what you said, right? Because it's fundamentally discriminatory logic, and it will just perpetuate itself at any cost.
And this is kind of from the playbook of discrimination. When you start off, you start taking down people who are obvious. In the kind of hierarchy of differences, they are explicit. So, you kind of first of all say that Muslims and other people are other faiths are of, they basically need to be ghar wapast, brought
Yeah.
back home into the fold, right? That's the first play that you make. So you kind of delegitimize a whole body of people. And then gradually you dial it up, and you're right. Now the arguments come to a place is it's not just sufficient being a Hindu, you have to be the right kind of Hindu, which is cow piss drinking, vegetarian, saffron wearing. And that is so and the problem is if you don't start pushing back on this type of arguments now in our own special ways and in our own small ways, you'll be swamped by these people, and the next thing you know, you'll be boarding a train to be smoked. That's my view of it,
Yeah, no,
anyway.
I agree with you. I just want to mention that this is kind of a global pattern, as you pointed out with your reference, that this we've seen this story before, and this is exactly what's happened in a number of Muslim majority religions, where these blasphemy laws are applied not just to non-Muslims, but disproportionately, but also to dissenting Muslims. And I remember, at a conference meeting, an academic who said this, who studied these Muslim majoritarian Islamic fundamentalist movements, and he says that it's first you're not a Muslim, then you're the wrong kind of Muslim. Then if you're the wrong kind of, then you say you're the right kind of Muslim. Then they'll say you don't have a beard. Then you grow a beard. They'll say the beard's not long enough. And then you say you grow your beard long enough, and they'll say that it's not gray because and then your beard is gray, and then they'll say it's the wrong shade of gray. So something or the other they will keep coming up with, and in this regard, actually, I think Ram Guha just shared a tweet in a tweet he shared a sentiment by Nehru where he said that the difference between us and Pakistan is that we don't want to be a Hindu majority state. We want to be a secular state, whereas they are trying to be a Islamic majority state. And I think in ominous ways we seem to be getting there.
So let's look. Let's end this discussion because we've talked about Rahul Gandhi. This is a fairly serious one that you've approached. First of all, our view is that nobody who's running for public office in India, as far as we know it, should be complied or asked to state religion or carry the religious sticker on their forehead. It is not a qualifier or disqualifier for public office in India, however much one party would like to think of it. And we hope our listeners and the people who participate in discussion with us see that view, and if they see a different view, they express it and are open to us having a reasoned discussion around it.
Absolutely. All right, man. Take care. Bye.
Chalo, take care. Bye-bye.